Welcome, Marvel lovers and haters alike. Let's get real today. Marvel has given us some amazing heroes: Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, but not every character can be a home run. Some heroes are just bad. You ever look at a character and think, what exactly are you contributing here? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Marvel's top 10 worst superheroes. Grab a snack, because we're diving deep into the superheroes that probably should have just stayed home. Let's get started with the strongest Avenger, Hulk. The Hulk, once the most feared and destructive force in the Marvel Universe, now reduced to giving therapy sessions in a cardigan. Remember when Hulk's smash was a threat to be taken seriously? Now it's more like Hulk advised. Let's face it, Hulk has gone from unstoppable wrecking ball to giant, green motivational speaker. And it all happened so fast, we barely had time to mourn the loss of our favorite destructive rage monster. Cast your mind back to the early days of Hulk. He was this uncontrollable force of nature, a walking disaster waiting to happen. Banner was terrified of hulking out. And rightly so. The transformations were tense. When Banner started getting a little sweaty and his eyes went green, you knew it was about to hit the fan. And then the Hulk would emerge angry, confused, and determined to break literally everything in sight. That's the Hulk we loved. No conversation, no reasoning, just destruction and chaos on a massive scale. That was entertainment. Now we have Smart Hulk, the Hulk who wears glasses and blends brains with brawn. Except, it's like all the brawn was left behind in the lab. Avengers Endgame brought us a Hulk who was more likely to sit down with you and talk about emotional balance than punch a hole in a spaceship. I mean, really. The biggest thing he destroyed in that movie was a plate of tacos. Where's the raw power? The unpredictability? Gone. Replaced by Smart Hulk, a professor in stretchy pants. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Thanos incident. Remember how Thanos handed Hulk his green, but in Infinity War, it was the one time we really needed Hulk to show up and do what he does best: smash things. And instead, we got a traumatized Banner who couldn't even get the Hulk to come out. Then, when we finally see him again in Endgame, it's not the rematch we all wanted. It's Smart Hulk, who's more interested in selfies than smashing. Seriously, I can't be the only one who felt robbed of the epic Hulk versus Thanos round 2 we deserved. It's like they benched their MVP during the final quarter of the game. And don't even get me started on SheHulk. Our big, angry, rage-fueled superhero now plays the role of life coach for his cousin. He's teaching yoga and meditation instead of tearing through buildings. What's next? A Hulk-branded line of wellness retreats. Find your inner peace, or your inner Hulk. We've officially gone from Hulk smash to Hulk chill. The problem with this new Hulk is that all the tension is gone. There's no risk, no danger. Banner and Hulk have found peace, which is great for them, but not so great for us, the audience. We missed the days when the Hulk was unpredictable, when you knew things were about to get out of hand the second his eyes turned green. Now, instead of flipping over tanks, he's out here giving life advice and cracking mild jokes. Where's the drama? The thrill of watching an uncontrollable beast let loose. Gone. Completely gone. Thor, from God of Thunder to God of Dad jokes. Thor, the God of Thunder, wielder of Mjolnir, King of Asgard, and star of Marvel's latest comedy specials. What happened to this guy? He started off as a serious, regal hero with a chip on his shoulder and a hammer to back it up. But somewhere along the way, Thor went from Shakespearean warrior to the MCU's punchline. Let's take a trip down memory lane. In Thor 2011, he's exiled to Earth to learn humility. Cool character growth. We love to see it. By the time we get to Thor Ragnarok, he's basically an Asgardian stand-up comic. Don't get me wrong, Ragnarok is one of the best MCU films, but it also marks the moment where Thor's character took a sharp turn into joke territory. It's as if Marvel saw how funny Chris Hemsworth could be and thought, let's just make him always funny. And then there's Thor Love and Thunder. Thor's arc in this movie is basically him trying to figure out how to be a dad while still throwing out quips every 5 seconds. The emotional depth we saw in Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame? Gone. It's like the writers couldn't decide if they wanted Thor to be a tragic hero or a walking punchline, so they just crammed both into the script and hoped for the best. Thor used to be the guy you call when you needed lightning to fry your enemies. Now, he's the guy you call when you need comic relief. And while that works for some scenes, it feels like we've lost the gravitas that made Thor. Well, Thor, remember when he faced off against Hela in Ragnarok, or when he took on Thanos in Infinity War? Those were the moments where Thor felt like a god. Now, he's more likely to crack a joke about his ABS than to actually wield his hammer with purpose. Black Widow, super spy or superfluous? Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, is arguably one of the most grounded characters in the MCU, but that's also her downfall. In a team filled with literal gods, super soldiers, and tech geniuses, what does she bring to the table? Martial arts and a couple of pistols. Sure, she's got spy skills, but when you're fighting aliens and killer robots, is that really enough? Don't get me wrong, Scarlett Johansson brought a lot of charisma to the role, but when you really think about it, Black Widow's contributions to the Avengers are minimal at best. She's great at interrogations and espionage, but when it comes to saving the world, does she really belong on the front lines? It's like watching someone bring a taser to a nuclear war. Her entire arc, culminating in Avengers Endgame, feels like it's trying to make us care more than we actually do. The big sacrifice on Vormir, yeah, that was sad. But honestly, did anyone think she'd make it to the final battle against Thanos? She's a human in a superhuman world, and eventually, that's going to catch up with you. Even her standalone movie, Black Widow, felt more like an afterthought than a celebration of the character. It was essentially a filler episode in the MCU timeline, and by the time it came out, we already knew Natasha's fate. The movie was more about setting up her successor, Yelena, than giving Black Widow the send-off she deserved. Captain Marvel, op and oops, but got personality. Captain Marvel is hands down one of the most powerful superheroes in the MCU, but somehow she's also one of the most boring. I mean, you've got cosmic level powers, flight, super strength, energy manipulation, but where's the personality? Carol Danvers is basically Superman without any of the charm. From her debut in Captain Marvel 2019, the character feels overpowered, but not in a fun way. It's like the writers forgot that a hero's struggle is what makes them interesting. With Carol, everything comes easy. She's super strong, super confident, and super bland. There's no real tension. When she shows up in Avengers Endgame, it's like, oh, cool, Carol's here to save the day, again. But then, she dips out for most of the movie because apparently there are other planets that need her help. Convenient, right? And don't even get me started on the emotional depth or lack thereof. Captain Marvel's entire arc in her own movie revolves around figuring out that she's been manipulated by the Kree, but the twist is telegraphed from a mile away. By the end of the movie, she's blasting through spaceships like they're made of papier mâché. But do we really care? It's hard to root for a character who's never really in danger. Even Superman has kryptonite. Carol Danvers? Her only weakness seems to be having too much power. If Marvel really wanted us to connect with Captain Marvel, they should have spent less time on her punching spaceships and more time on giving her, I don't know, human qualities. Something to make her more relatable beyond "I'm the best because I said so." Her interactions with the Avengers feel stiff, like she's the one person in the group project who insists on doing everything herself because no one else can be trusted. Hawkeye, the Avenger with a bow and no business being there. Hawkeye, the guy who shows up to an intergalactic brawl with a bow and arrow, as if he's cosplaying as Legolas at Comic-Con. Look, I get it. Hawkeye is the everyman of the Avengers. He's human, relatable. But here's the thing, when your teammates include a god of thunder, a giant green rage monster, and a billionaire with flying armor, showing up with a bow feels like bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. What makes it worse is that Clint Barton, for all his family man charm, rarely gets the screen time or development he needs to be more than just a guy with arrows. In the Avengers 2012, he spends most of the movie mind-controlled by Loki in Avengers Age of Ultron. He gets a little more character development as Secret Family, but even then, it felt like the movie was trying to make us care about him because he's so normal. But let's be real, even with the emotional depth they gave him, Hawkeye is still out here fighting alien invasions with arrows. How many arrows can you even carry in that quiver? 30, 40? At best. He's got about 5 minutes before he's just standing there holding a bow like an idiot. I mean, sure, he's got trick arrows, but do any of those stand a chance against someone like Thanos? And don't get me started on the Hawkeye series. The show tries so hard to make Clint Barton relatable. He's just a guy trying to spend Christmas with his family. But the stakes feel so low compared to, the actual end of the world that we've seen him deal with before. Do we really need a 6-episode series about a guy with hearing loss trying to train a successor? No offense, Kate Bishop, but the last thing we need is the Hawkeyes. Quicksilver, blink and you missed him. Quicksilver is the kind of superhero you forget about until someone brings him up. And then you remember, oh yeah, that guy existed. For about 15 minutes. I mean, his name is Quicksilver, but apparently not quick enough to dodge a couple of bullets. Seriously, you have one job, be fast. How do you mess that up? Let's compare Quicksilver to the Flash. His DC counterpart. While the Flash is fast enough to outrun time itself, Quicksilver can barely make it through an action sequence without getting himself killed. It's like they introduced him, showed off his cool slow-motion scenes, and then realized, wait, we have no idea what to do with this guy, and don't even get me started on how they handled him in WandaVision. A quick cameo for nostalgia's sake, and then they pull the rug out from under us with some cheap joke about his name. Quicksilver had potential, but Marvel just didn't know how to use him. He's fast, sure, but his character arc, slower than molasses. Shuri, tech genius, not superhero material. Now, I know I'm going to get some hate for this one because everyone loves Shuri, and don't get me wrong, I love her tech-savvy brilliance and her comedic timing. But as the new Black Panther, nah, it's like giving your little sister the keys to the car because you sprained your ankle. She's smart, but we missed a shallow-esque gravitas and presence. Shuri is better off in the lab inventing cool gadgets, not in the battlefield leading a nation. She doesn't have the commanding presence needed to be a superhero. Her strengths lie in technology and intellect, not physical confrontation or leadership. T'Challa was noble, inspiring, and had this deep connection to his people in the mantle of the Black Panther. Shuri, she's just trying to live up to her brother's legacy, and it shows. And don't even get me started on the CGI in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Her suit looks more like a Halloween costume than something fit for a warrior. For someone who's so brilliant, her actions often feel a little reckless, and not in a fun, Tony Stark way. In the comics, Shuri eventually grows into her role as Black Panther, but on screen, it feels rushed in and earned. We needed more build-up to accept her in this position. Ironheart, the dollar store Tony Stark, Ironheart, or as I like to call her, Iron Man Light. Riri Williams might be a technical genius, but where's the charisma? Where's the wit? Where's the anything that made Tony Stark a character we actually care about? She just shows up, builds an Iron Man suit, and we're supposed to be impressed. Newsflash, we've seen it all before, and Tony Stark did it better. The problem with Ironheart isn't just that she's living in Tony's shadow, it's that she has no personality of her own. Tony Stark was arrogant, charming, flawed, and hilarious all at once. Riri, she's just smart. But being a genius in the Marvel Universe is kind of like being a barista in Brooklyn, everyone's doing it. Her backstory lacks depth. Her motivation? Meh. Even her suit design feels like an off-brand version of the original. It's like they took the blueprint for Iron Man and stripped away everything that made it cool. Where is the innovation, the sarcasm, the reckless abandon? Without those, all we have is a character trying to fill shoes that are way too big for her. She-Hulk, attorney at law... and meh. She-Hulk, where do we start? Well, if the premise was to be a groundbreaking female superhero show, it missed the mark harder than a Hulk jump. Jennifer Walters is supposed to be the fun, relatable cousin of Bruce Banner, but half the time she's more interested in swiping right than smashing bad guys. The show tried to be quirky with its fourth wall-breaking humor, but most of the time it just felt like a bad Tinder date that you couldn't escape from. Let's not forget her ability to control the Hulk transformations like it's no big deal. This is the same power that's been a nightmare for Bruce for, what, a decade? Yet, Jennifer casually flips the switch and goes back to her legal practice like, oh, did I just turn into a green monster? No biggie. It completely undercuts what made Hulk's power so dangerous and fascinating in the first place. Her superhero fights, almost non-existent. Sure, she's got a court case now and then, but where's the action? Where's the drama? Instead, we're treated to scenes of her balancing her legal career and dating life. If I wanted a legal drama, I'd watch Law. The Eternals, the immortal snooze fest. You'd think after 7,000 years of protecting Earth, something interesting would have happened to these guys, but nope. The Eternals are living proof that just because you've got superpowers, doesn't mean you're not boring. Remember, they're supposed to be these ultra-powerful beings who can save the planet. But by the end of the movie, I was rooting for the deviants. Let's break it down. Icarus, the Superman knockoff, had one job, protect Earth. What does he do? Betrays everyone because he can't deal with a little thing called emotions. You're basically a laser-eyed god. Dude, relax. Cersei, I mean, she could transform matter, but half the time it felt like she was confused about her own abilities. Turning rocks into water is cool, but maybe turn the plot into something less ... forgettable? Kingo the Bollywood star with finger guns. Yes, I said it, finger guns. I'm sorry, But how are we supposed to take that seriously when the Avengers are out here fighting intergalactic threats with Mjolnir and photon beams? Also, did he just leave the final battle because? Reasons. What's the point of even being there? Phastos is an engineering genius, but where was all that genius when the world needed it during the countless global crises we've seen? Phastos, you could have helped a lot during Ultron's rise. Just saying, with each Eternal, the stakes seemed higher, but the payoff, almost non-existent. They made Thanos seem like a more relatable character with actual depth. Plus, the dynamic of the team was flatter than a pancake. They don't even like each other that much. Why are they sticking around for 7,000 years? The Eternals movie felt less like a superhero movie and more like a badly structured group therapy session that I didn't sign up for. Seriously, how does an immortal team feel so lifeless? And there you have it, folks. The list of Marvel's finest stand by finest. I mean, the ones we could have done without. Whether they're gods with dad jokes, overpowered space commanders with zero personality, or fast guys who couldn't outrun a bullet, these heroes have left us scratching our heads and wondering, did we really need you in the MCU? Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Marvel. The highs have been incredible, but these characters? They're more like the background noise in the cafeteria, and we can't help but wonder how they managed to make it into the spotlight in the first place. So, what do you think? Did I leave out any heroes that deserve a spot on the list? Maybe you disagree with me and think Hawkeye is the unsung hero of the Avengers, good luck with that. Or maybe you think the Eternals were actually deep and meaningful. I'll wait while you Google who the Eternals are again. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, like and subscribe for more brutally honest takes.